Hi and welcome to DIY with Jeannie. I'm Jeannie and this is my, we do crafting. We do all kinds of crafting. Today we're doing sewing with the material we found at Goodwill. Please don't feel like you have to go out when you're teaching yourself to sew things, and I'm always wanting to try new techniques, but I don't really want to spend it on good fabric until I figure out whether or not I can do it. I've messed up a lot of stuff. Some of the videos you have not seen, nor will you. But it's okay, because, we all have those days. But I try to find inexpensive ways that we can craft and still make beautiful things. Like this material we found at Goodwill. I found it at the bins, which means I paid $1.49 a pound for it. And this is not a pound of fabric. So we're going to make a really cute craft with this. And, but I wanted to say welcome. Welcome to all of those that are brand new. Welcome to those that are back for more than one chance at this. And we'll get started. So we are going to take this and we are going to make an over the sofa, the shoulder, over the arm holder for my remote controls and for my iPad so that it can sit there and they'll have it in both sides. Now, when I was going through this, and I went ahead and cut it and ironed on the fusible fleece, but because there's a right side up and an upside down, I didn't want that on my pattern. So what I did was I went ahead and cut the toile in half, put it on the two sides, but then I took this red that's going to be the back color and put it in the middle. That's the part that will kind of lay at the top of the shoulder of the arm of the couch. So I cut my pieces, sewed them all on my fusible fleece. Now we're going to cut them apart. And I'm going to show you, one, why I have the pieces I have, but also how we're going to make it look and how we're going to do our pockets. So these are the two large pockets. And as I sew them, I might alter the way they look. But I really liked the images, and that's kind of the reason I did them the way I did. As you can see, this one's got our little guy sitting in the flowers. Not sure what the tool is in his hand, but kind of looks like a gun or a fishing pole. I'm not sure. But evidently he's getting food. That is his task for the day, and rather than do that, he is sitting by the water, maybe. But he's just sitting, not actually doing his job. So I'm just cutting off the excess here so that we can see it. And the back is going to be that red fabric. It's going to be, I have it here. I've made it a little larger so that if I decide, once I sew it all together, to fold it over the edges, I can. Excuse me. So this is our back, this is our front, and these are our pockets. Now, to put them on, my plan is, see, there's our little fisherman guy, to put one pocket on this side, and I'm going to use a smaller pocket, and what I'll do is I will sew some channels so that I can drop the remotes in there. Now I have two very small ones. One is for my electric fireplace and the other one is for my fan. And I know that seems kind of weird, but they're my two seasons, and so I need to keep both remotes. We don't really have a spring and fall here in Las Vegas. We go straight from bitterly cold to I'm going to need ice. And then on this side, I'm going to put a larger pocket, and this is where I'm going to put my iPad. So these will also be lined with the red. So they will have red on the inside and then this color. And I thought those two went so well together, which is, I'm guessing, why the people bought it. I'm hoping that's why I had a little over half a yard of each. And it is just going to be beautiful. I love the way this center came out. And then it will just lay over it like so. So what we are going to do, I didn't measure, well, I did to an extent. I measured the width at about 13 inches, and I did that because my iPad needs to go in there, and even though it's around 10 inches, it's got some thickness to it, and so when I slide it in, I want to be able to have it go in. The other side, that's also a good size to fit on the arm, so it should not go zipping off. If I'd made it really narrow, I'm afraid it would have just slid off one way or the other. And I could have put some padding on the back. I could have put a weight in the middle with rice, but I didn't want to add bulk to the center. I've recently found this really cute thing that they use boards, bamboo pieces, strips, and because they curve, you can also make it flat and have a tabletop surface. Not quite that ambitious yet, but I am putting this solid color in the middle. So let's go get the pockets front and back sewn, and then we will come back and talk about how we're going to put them on. So we'll be right back. Okay, I have sewn the back on, and I left enough. I folded it over on the top, and I stitched along in this ditch area where the two fabrics meet so that it stays nice and crisp once I get it on. But I wanted to be able to find the edge of the pocket easily. So this way it gives us a very definite edge. Now this is the smaller pocket, and it will go on this side. And I had thought about making multiple channels, but what I think I'll do is I'll just do two. I'll do about the same size. I'll just sew it down the middle, and I want to do that before I put the back on because I don't want that seam to show on the back. When I the other pocket, which is this one, will go on this side, and it is not going to get any kind of division because this one is for my iPad. So there is that one, and here is this one, and I think the placement has come out really well. So let's go get, I want to go get these sewn on. Well, definitely get that sewn down the middle, but I think I'll go ahead and just kind of put these on so that they're in place, so that when I go to put the back on, it's just going to be a lot easier. So let's go get that done real quickly, and we'll be right back. Okay, we have the pockets kind of base stitched on. When I went back and trimmed, I noticed this was a little jabberwocky, but I got that back together. So we have a bigger pocket and then slightly smaller. Got room that we can put our hand in. It's not yet sewn on the bottom, which is fine because we'll do that all together with the top. And you can see that this pocket is just a little taller than this pocket. I measured from the center down to the pockets so that they would be straight, even though this one doesn't look it. But it is, or it should be. I used a ruler. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go and sew this piece on like so, and then we will turn it inside out. So let's go get this on. This is the backing piece. So we'll go sew it on, then we'll flip it, and I'll show you the next step. So we'll be right back. Okay, we have our piece sewn together. Notice our area, and what I did was I left it open right here because we've got to turn it right side out. Let's get that done real quick. Why does that feel strange? Okay. It was down in the pocket, and I'm like, why does that feel weird? Oh, good. Hang on. Let's see what has got the children riled. Okay, let's turn it right side out. Sorry, the mailman and the children don't think he should be allowed here, and for a while he wasn't. Oops, let me cut those corners. If you've never made anything square, always cut these corners and make sure you leave enough that you didn't cut into the seam because you don't want a hole there. So let's cut all of our little corners off. Where'd you come from? Yes, dear. Want to be back up here with us now that I've finished using the tabletop as much? Some days she will not come near me, and other days, I know, look at all the little pieces. I got that for you. She's going to play with the pieces for a minute anyway, then she'll get tired of it. No. So, let's go back in, try this again. Here's the corner. So, you don't want that great big piece wadded up in the corner, and that's why we cut that off. So shove that through. Get that started. I'm going to use not the pointer part, but this plastic cap. I want to use it to kind of hush. I'm not going to put up with that. I'll put you down on the ground so that we get those corners at least well started before I get it too far in. So let's push it in with my thumb. Then I'm going to take and try to get as much of that corner turned out as I can before I get it too far. I'll do it again down here. And maybe I can show you what I'm doing. See, there's the corner. So what I'm doing is trying to get it not as rounded. It's going to be rounded because that's a huge amount of material there, but it doesn't have to be real rounded. See, now I've got a nice little corner poked out. Let's do the same on this side. Just set it in the middle of that corner and kind of push it on through. And now it's not her throwing things off the table, it's Mama. So she can go, see, that's what we do. We throw stuff off the table. I don't know what it is about cats and throwing things on the floor. So let me stick my hand back in there, grab these corners, pull them down. Get everybody out this end. And it doesn't matter what it looks like here because we will go back and iron it when I put that final touch on, and I'll show you. It's also how we're going to finish off this bottom. See how easily that just comes through. It's just, it takes some work. You have to actually play with it. Push you through that little corner that we did. And see how good these corners came out by pushing that through to begin with. Now this one, see how it's still kind of poked in. Grab that. And we'll go ahead and get that out without stabbing me. That would be nice. See, we want to just push that material outwards until we get a nice square-ish corner. I'm going to have a little bit of a rounded end because it's really hard to get all of that multiple layers to come out. This one needs to have a little more. I've seen people use a pin and just go in and pull it out. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm afraid I'm going to rip it. But since I'm about to sew it again anyway, give it a try. Is that this side? See, like that. There we go. Now I'm going to go back and iron it. And when I do, I also I'm going to sew around all the edges. I'm going to sew it down along the edges, and I'm going to, just like I did here to make that, I'm going to sew here to keep that center point. So let's go do this, and maybe she'll follow me back there and then won't get back on the table when I come back. Wishful thinking. But I'm going to go back and iron it, get that last sewn, and we'll come back and see how it looks finished. Okay, so here we go. trim this a little bit. I do have a couple of issues, and I want to point them out because, one, I think it's important that we know that we all mess up. And two, this is my own pattern, so it's likely that I'm going to have issues. First one, getting this big old clump of fabric to actually fold over. I had to first sew it together and then sew the fabric on, so it just doesn't look beautiful. But again, that's a bottom. Never going to probably notice it. So I've got my 2 pockets. I can put my remotes in. I've got my big pocket for a book, or for me, my iPad or my bullet journal. Along this seam, I sewed it, and I did that so that the fabric wouldn't move. It wouldn't kind of twist on me, and which I don't want, especially with it hanging over the back of the couch or the side of the couch. So there we go. We have our little pouch, our little hold all for our couch. And even though, you know, I'm very eclectic in my decorating, so you can use any fabric that you want. I do recommend a thicker fabric for your main fabric. This is a cotton. It's a thinner cotton. That's not as important. The pockets, the one that's going to get the majority of the work, I would recommend this thicker, a thicker fabric. You could use almost anything. But there we go. That is our project for today. No idea what's going to happen this week. I don't have a clue what we're going to be working on. I've got some painting. I have got a new chalk couture pattern, and even though I'm no longer an independent dealer, I can hook you up with people, and I can show you what is available right now because I still like it. I still love it. So that is our thing for today. April, you want to say goodbye? She's getting shaved this week. It's been 80-something degrees here, so don't get all freak out because she's going to be shaved. She never goes outside anyway. So, I know, give me the evil eye. It's fine. But she's a mom's girl today. And I will see you this week. Thank you for sharing your time with me. DIY with Jeannie. And I hope to see you again.